Hello and welcome to Possibilities. Guess what? We have a special guest. It is Paul Silva, the man, the legend, my partner for 28 years. And we are going to get into all sorts of stuff today.
Chief Performance and Mindset Coach Hina Khan, welcome back.
I make it part of my self-image, and the more I rest, the more I make.
Hina Khan is an extraordinary woman. She has a very extraordinary understanding of how the mind functions.
So I'm really thrilled that you are here. My name is Hina. I am a peak performance mindset coach, and I help you create a life you love through ease, joy, and fun. And if you are curious about our community, the programs that I run, or want to know more about what we do, in the show notes, you will find a link to book a call with somebody on my team, and they would be more than happy to share all the details that you're looking for. Paul Silva.
In the flesh.
In the flesh. So I wanted to have you on, and I was like, Paul, will you be on my podcast? And Paul was like, yeah. He goes, okay, so what will we talk about? And at first I was thinking we would talk about leadership or more professional stuff, because that's your jam and you are so good at it. And actually you've helped me so much in my business. But then what I've realized is that what people really want to know about is our relationship.
It's wild.
And when I said that to you, you were like, really?
Yes, like that's it. It's just a tell-all. It's a tell-all book. That's what we're good for.
It's a tell-all. It's like the Real Housewives tell-all. Okay, it's a tell-all. Where the relationship is now is where I wanted it to be and what I wanted to feel. And I think I was, I don't know. I think it wasn't authentically there. It wasn't truly there to where it is now. So you would say now it feels really real, and where you are happy that it is.
Yeah, this is the kind of relationship where in the past I would have prayed for.
Aww.
In terms of like, this is what I was seeking. Because, well, first I had to do the work for myself. And then we always say your external is a reflection of your internal. And so I was full of chaos. So everything around us was chaos. And so and I know you did your work and I did mine, now it's like it clicks, right? And we have our boys and the 2 dogs and all of that stuff. And it just feels like it's in the right place at the right pace in the right space.
Obviously, in our relationship, there's been so many changes. I mean, 28 years. And there's been the change professionally for me, from psychotherapy to coaching to the growth in the business. So what has that been like for you?
It's been fun to watch. And at the beginning, I had no idea what you were doing.
That makes 2 of us. I had no idea either.
I didn't understand what, I knew therapy, but coaching and all that, like I had no idea. And so, but all I knew is that if it lit you up, then I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing the path where you continue to go to where the energy draws you, that's also helped me and kind of modeled that for me. So then that helps in my journey and helping my clients in their journey, because it's all about what lights you up and what really grabs your attention and imagination. And so you've been able to do that. So it's been fun to watch.
Okay. I want to actually go, because I think it dovetails nicely into this question here that we received. And this is a question for you. As Hina's business and public profile has grown, have you had any negative feelings, resentment, feeling left out or left behind? If you have, what have you done to manage those feelings? What advice would you have for other partners, especially men who find themselves in the same situation?
Well, that's a doozy.
I know. I love this question, and I'm curious. So did you feel any negative feelings or resentment or feeling left out?
No, the short answer is no.
Really?
But there have been times where I would feel a bit of envy, and I think one time I did talk to you about this in the summer, and I remember saying we were dropping the kids off and we were alone in this cottage area. And I said, there are times where I see you like jetting around and doing all that stuff. And there I am cutting coupons out of a pay, well, not really a coupon, but, I feel like I was kind of in scarcity and you were living in this abundant life. And so I had moments of like, I want that, but I don't want that. And I know it makes you happy and it brings you joy. And what I realized in talking to you was it's not that I was jealous, because to me, jealousy has a tinge of anger, which means there's fear, right? And the fear is either not getting what you want or losing what you have. And so I didn't.
Wait, say that again.
So jealousy to me is tinged with anger, which means
with fear,
right? Because anger is fear's bodyguard. And
hold on. Now you're dropping so many gems. Anger is fear's bodyguard. Anger is fear's bodyguard. Wow.
So jealousy has that fear factor of either not getting what you want or losing what you have. And so for me, I didn't feel jealous because I didn't want necessarily what you wanted, right? Like there's certain things that you are drawn to that I'm not necessarily.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't so much jealousy as envy, because it's like, look at, she's getting what she wants, what she's working towards. And for me, it wasn't directed at you. That was me, right? Because what it did is it showed me that I'm not doing the work to get what I want. And so like we're all mirrors to one another. So you at times have been a mirror to me. And when I have those moments of feeling, I wouldn't say resentful, but I feel envy or, wow, she gets to do this. And because I'm in victim mode, like she gets to do it, not me, way. And that's where I have to like look at myself and say, okay, what am I not doing? What's missing? And so it's been very helpful for me to catch myself at those moments and say, because your success is our success, like, as a family and as a couple. So it's nothing to do with that. But when I feel lack and I see wealth, however, and success, however you define that, then it's like a little burr on my side. And so I just realized what I'm directing towards you is actually something that I need to examine.
Well, it was so interesting when we received this question, because I was curious, because I have never felt negativity coming from you or resentment for my success, for what I have done. And, I could actually not, I could not do it without you. You've created such a strong foundation that allows me to do this, that allows me to say yes to everything, right? Because I also know that you've got my back at home with the boys and everything. And so this was an interesting question. So I didn't know that there may have been envy, not jealousy. And then the question is, so when you realize that, what have you done to manage those feelings?
As I said, I acknowledge that it's something that I have to look at myself. And then I just question myself, what is this about? What's underneath this? And that's where I, we either journal or go for a walk or go for a bike ride and let this percolate a bit. And usually the answer comes pretty quickly. It's like, well, what are your habits lately? What have you been eating lately? Like, have you been working out? Have you been doing your spiritual practices? Have you been, et cetera, et cetera? And when I start to examine, just going through the debris of these emotions, then I start to pick out like, okay, I haven't been doing this. I've been neglecting this. I've been using the wrong filter and seeing things. And that's when I can make these adjustments along the way so that it's not directed, it's directed in the right way to the right place with the right energy. And so it's not like, oh, look at her.
Right. And I think that's something that was not in the beginning of our relationship at all, but is now, is that we take responsibility for how we feel. Unless I'm hangry, then honestly, it's everybody else's fault. And then I eat and the world is so good again. Okay. So back to this question. The last part of this question for you is then, what advice would you have for other partners, especially men, who do find themselves in this situation and maybe they are feeling envy, maybe they're feeling jealousy, maybe they are feeling resentment as they're watching their partners realize their dreams and have success?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I know that's come up in your community before with a lot of spouses asking, like, I'm doing all this work and my partner is being cynical or critical or not supporting me in any way. And for those partners who are struggling and watching their partner, what I would say is question, what is it that this is stepping on? What is this disturbing? What's kicking the hornet's nest? Like, what is it that if you were to take the emotion out of it, if you were to examine it like on a spreadsheet almost, what is it that it's poking? Yeah. Because you'll find the answer, because a lot of times there's that bluster and the finger pointing. But like in my case, for me, it was, I'm not taking the steps to live my dream. And so when it's a dynamic in every relationship. And so when one person shifts, it disturbs the dynamics.
Yeah.
And that can be unsettling for some people because they're used to a certain comfort level. And when that switches, they're not sure where to direct that seismic shuffling. And so it's very easy for them to direct it at their partner, and you're this and you're that. But if they were to rein it back and to look at it more objectively, what is it what's the disturbance?
Yeah, I think also things really changed when I acknowledged to myself that my goals matter, my well-being matter, and I was responsible for that, and you were responsible for your own. And so I was not responsible for how you would feel about my goals. So that really freed me up to have my goals and not have to manage your experience of my goals, which I think in the beginning I had my goals, but I also had I did it to myself, but your feelings towards my goals I took on, and making sure that you were okay and micromanaging you and what you were doing, so really that delineation of this is mine, but it's for the well-being of our whole family, obviously, as well. And I think the other thing that could help with your partner is bringing them into your goal. So it's not so much, I don't ask Paul for permission, but I do ask for support. It's like, I am doing this. I could really use your support. I will be traveling. And I remember even working with Steve Hardison that first time. You were the one that really encouraged me to go and do it because I was having a lot of judgments around that. So I think it's the communication too, letting your partner know about your goals and why it's important to you. So the follow-up question to this would be, for me, is that if this has come up between you and Paul, what did you do to help navigate this season of your relationship while continuing to grow yourself and your business? So it didn't come up for us. I never felt any negativity at all. The next part is, how did you stop yourself from holding yourself back to make him comfortable? I used to do that in some way and then resent him for it earlier on in our relationship. But that is the way that I stopped myself from doing that, was knowing it's not my responsibility to make him comfortable. And then also, how did you walk the line between wife and coach if you felt like you were being pulled between these two, both from outside and within your relationship? So this is interesting because we do date nights.
We do.
And we talk about work.
And the dogs.
And the dogs. Like, and I don't know. I've come to accept that is what's happening in my life. And you help me so much. I don't know if I help you, but you help me a lot. But do you wish it was different? Like, would you like me to, I don't know. What do you want? This question is stirring stuff up.
That's a tough question. What do you want?
What do you want?
Oh,
like, how do you feel about it?
I think where the energy goes is where it's meant to go. So if we're talking about work or whatever it is, because it lights us both up, then why suppress that?
Yeah.
Like, who are we trying to perform for?
True.
Right? Who is someone listening? Oh my God, I can't believe they're talking about work. No, it's something that is ingrained into our lives. It's not something that you can just cut off you shut the laptop and that's it. We don't talk about that. It just permeates into everything. It's part of our lives, and we love talking about it.
Yeah.
But we also balance it.
Do we?
Well, you like to watch like the Kardashian thing and all that. So, and I can tell when you're hangry just before I cut you off at the pass before hangry hits. I can tell even by the way you walk on the steps, she's hungry, or even just the way you say my name. I'm like, she's hungry. But what I mean is like, there's balance all around.
Oh, right. So I guess what you're saying is that like we have like a home life where it's not like that. I think, but so we've been married for 28 years and I don't like, I'm dressed up and I've got heels on for the podcast. It's for you. It's not for him.
It's not for me. Don't worry.
It's not for him. Do you like do you wish that I did that more? Like, do you feel like this? Because when I'm at home, like now I have sweats. Before I would go straight into pajamas, but now I have my aloe sweats, which I love.
They're very nice.
Do you wish that was different for you? Do you want that?
No.
You don't.
I want you to be comfortable.
You do.
You need to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You're doing this kind of thing all day.
Yeah.
So why not be comfortable? Balance.
You know, sometimes when I'm like just lying on the couch, watching a show or just listening to something, and I'm in my comfy clothes, and Paul will say, you've said this to me and it means so much to me. You've said, I really love seeing you just resting. When you tell me that you love to see me rest, it really impacts me. I think because, many times we may have our own judgments about resting, and it's something that I work on with my clients, and it's something that I've come to, but to have that echoed or reflected is really meaningful to me. And so I'm just wondering, what does that mean to you, and why do you say it when you have?
Because I've seen you when you had a hard time resting. And I recall, I don't know how long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, where you struggled to rest. And it was like you consciously had to work at it.
Yeah.
Like you had to work at it. You had to force yourself to sit on the couch. Now you do it with ease because you're at a good place with it. And I know a lot of people, and I count myself included, where there's a sense of guilt. I could be doing this. I should be doing this. I must be doing this. I need to be doing this. As opposed to, I enjoy rest. I require rest. I'm recharging. It's a different vibe, a different energy. And so when I see you, chilling and watching your show or whatever, I know that you truly are resting and recharging because you have a busy week coming up, or you just finished doing some masterclass or some retreat. And so it's important because if you're not rested, it's going to trickle down, right, to your work and into it's going to bleed into our life. And so it's important. Same with me. Like if I'm not getting enough sleep or if I'm not exercising enough, that's going to bleed in to our life. And so I think it's a wonderful example to set, because it's also you're walking the walk. So if you're telling your clients this, you're demonstrating it. So you're coming from integrity. But I just enjoy watching you chill
in my comfy clothes.
With your cup of tea.
Nothing fancy, with my cup of tea. Love, why is tea so good?
I don't know. You ask me that all the time.
He makes me a cup of tea, and I'm like, why is tea so good? Okay.
I'm a coffee guy, so I don't know.
Okay. So we've got two more questions.
All right.
But before we get to that, I wanted to talk about our roles, because it is not traditional, but I think it's more, we're seeing it a lot more now, in the sense that you really take care of pretty much everything on the home front now. And you also take care of us, feeding us, as the boys say. Thank God that Poppy is here. Otherwise, we would be starving. And that is true. Oh my gosh. Remember when you went to New York? I was like, we did okay. We fared well, but I was like, why are you going for so long? I support you, but why are you going for so long? But I was happy that you went. So, but for me, I think of it as very masculine
Mhm.
energy, and that you are taking care of us and you are our protector and you are playing that role. The vehicle is maybe different than what other people see as the vehicle in both of our vehicles. Like, I'm taking care of the family in a different vehicle, but it's still nurturing and things like that. That's the way how I see it.
Yeah.
How do you see it and your role, and especially when it comes to masculinity for you?
I see it in the same way in terms of, part of the masculine is holding space for the feminine. And so creating that foundational space so that the feminine can step into that and do her thing. I think it's important. And that does include, yes, like for me, taking care of the home and the dogs and the kids and appointments and shopping and all that kind of stuff. I enjoy that. Like it's not a hardship by any stretch of the imagination. And I know that by doing that, it takes any sort of pressure off of you so you can do your thing. Now, I'm still doing my thing as well outside of that. I can still create and do, my podcast and do coaching and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm also taking care of myself that way. But it's, to me, part of the work is, it's like, I see it as being of service, to the family, but also helping to build it, because everyone can step into their own spaces and I get to be of help. And to me, I love that.
Do you know that we got a new car? I can't remember when, anyways, that's a whole other podcast about the cars. But I have never put gas in this car that we have. You always make sure that the gas tank is filled for me. And that means so much to me. I wouldn't even know what to do. No, I would figure it out. But it's those kinds of things for me that is very much the masculine. And when we travel, I know, like, I'll do the planning to get us there for sure. I'll book the tickets, the hotel. But once we're there, I let go of everything. I'm like, Paul, I'm not, what am I doing? I'm not taking anything with me.
Yeah.
Like, meaning that I'm like, you have all the money, you've got everything. I've just got my phone and my glasses. And so you allow me to step into that. You allow me to relax, to just be, because I know that you've got it and you've got everything for our family taken care of. It wasn't always like that, though.
No.
Like, this is something that we've come to as well. So I was curious about that. Okay. What advice do you have about bringing your partner into your business as an employee? How do you become your partner's boss and maintain the existing relationship outside of the business? So Paul is not an employee in the business. He helps a lot. He does a lot of consulting. Like, we'll have to do a whole other episode just on how he has helped me, because I think it would help you in it. But there was a time where we did have you, it seemed like it made sense to bring you on as an employee, but then you did not want that anymore. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
That's right.
Going
That's
back,
right.
it was a while ago. So
Yeah.
What was it like for you to be an employee in my business?
What was it like? I think at the time it made sense. I think when I jumped on board, it totally made sense, and I was happy to help, as I am now. It was a different structure back then, and definitely as I was aspiring to build my own business, it felt like it was a bit of a step back, and I felt at some point I needed to let go of that so I can just go off, and so. Yeah, I had to resign, so to speak.
Yeah, we had a party in the kitchen. We had a retirement party in the kitchen with the boys and the dog that we had. We got a cake.
Yeah, it was again, it was also for me, it was claiming my space.
Yeah.
Right? It was I think I was a bit nervous at one point, like, okay, I gotta give her my notice.
Yeah, you gave notice. You gave notice.
I gave notice. I was like, this is my last day.
Yeah.
But it was freeing because I know that I would still be supporting you, but I also wanted to get my business up and going as well. And I
Yeah.
couldn't do both.
Yeah.
And so it was also one of those things of like, what would you do if I wasn't here? Like for you,
Yeah.
like for you to like now have to figure out what it is that you need.
Yes.
And it was awkward a little bit for me. But once we talked about it, because that's the whole thing, it was communication. And we talked about, okay, so you'll do this and we did some other stuff behind the scenes in terms of like financials and all that
Yeah.
as well. Then it felt like, okay, this was the next step. And so being in the business with you
Yeah.
was great. And because also I got to see how you were running things. So it was an education for me, and also I could contribute, but then I needed to kind of like move on.
You did. And I actually think it was such a great decision for our relationship, because I think for our history, it wasn't great for the dynamic. What's interesting is Paul does so much behind the scenes consulting for me, but even that little piece of not being an employee, I think for us, it didn't work. For the relationship, I really don't think it did. It created a dynamic that we would go back to something. We could fall back into something that was not healthy. I know it didn't go there, but yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, the turrets, the sights of the turrets were going toward that spot.
Yeah.
And it was that where there could be this idea where I defer to you.
Yeah.
Because during the day, you're kind of calling the shots in some way. And then that would just continue.
Yes.
Into the relationship where I'm like, well, what do you think? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And it wasn't good for me either.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden you're constantly having to hold everything.
Yes.
And make the decisions, as opposed to just letting go and letting us kind of both find our space and have our roles.
Yes.
And so I agree. It started to shift it a little bit, and I think we both sensed it, and then that's why I pulled the parachute.
Yeah. That's why we had the party in the kitchen with the full staff, which were the dogs. So I think to answer that question, it's really up to you. It's a subjective decision with your history with your partner. For us, it worked for a time until it didn't. And when we recognized that, at least we had the relationship where we could talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been better that I don't think it would happen that you would be an employee again. Like,
no,
it wouldn't make sense. Okay. Last question.
Alrighty.
How do you deal with feelings of, I just want to stay in and snuggle with my partner? Well, I don't, because I don't have those feelings. But not in a bad way. It's menopause. Like the other day, remember at night you touched me and I was like, too hot. Your hands were too hot.
For context, we sleep, even in winter, we have our own fan plus the AC on. Even in winter, it's cool. We like it cool. And,
it cool. So we're not snuggling. So that's not us. So we do not have this problem. Maybe in our earlier years, and we're okay with that.
We're okay with that.
Yeah. The other
not even the dogs.
hot.
I don't even want the dogs touching.
I know.
me.
I want the dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know they go to the boys. I'll continue the question. How do you deal with the feelings of, I just want to stay and snuggle with my partner, but I know I should record this podcast, write this copy, or go to this event? So what I would say is, if you feel like you want to snuggle with your partner because you want to be with your partner, and not as a way to procrastinate, but you really want to be with your partner, be with your partner. The extra few minutes of connection will go a long way. But if you're using it as an excuse to not do the things, well, then that's a little different. What about for you? What would you say to that?
I always remember a writing teacher, when asked, should I nap or should I write? She said, always nap. So always nap, like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can take care of the other stuff. And so there are times where I do want to rest a little bit longer and all that. And I don't judge it anymore. Sometimes I need to do that.
Yeah.
And the other stuff will happen. Like that email will get sent. that podcast will be recorded, et cetera, et cetera. But if you need the extra 5, like what's 5-10 minutes or 20 minutes to like whatever, if it's connection or if it's just rest and recharge or whatever it is. So between nap and nap, cuddle,
always nap,
always nap.
Thank you. This was fun.
That was abrupt.
Did you? Oh, okay, wait. I have one last question. What do you think would surprise people about me?
Oh, what would surprise? That you don't cook at all? No, that I think they would probably get. No, you
know that now.
What would surprise people?
Or okay, I can also ask you another one too.
Ask me another one.
Another one? Okay. What do you think is something you would want people to know about me that you think they don't know?
Oh, that's a good one. It's hard because you're very transparent and you show so many sides of yourself. I don't know if there's anything that, I mean, there's self-containment, obviously, when you're out in social media now, there's a level of self-containment of privacy. I mean, if I were to describe you, and I would say that there's even more warmth and love than you may even show. Like, you are very warm and inviting and all that, but there's even more there because I see that, with our family, and I see that, and just how generous you are. Like, I think what people don't understand is how much you love giving. I know we say, we say this in service and coaching and all that kind of thing. I love helping people, but like, you really do. Like, it's almost insane how much you love helping people. Like, whether it's doing stuff for my parents or for your family, your brother, and for the neighbors or for whoever. Like, you just love giving. Like, people talk about it, but you embody it so much. It's just fun to watch.
I love you.
Love you.
So we'll do this again.
Obviously.
I'll check with your calendar.
Talk to my people.
We've got a shared calendar. Your people are our 2 teenagers and 2 dogs. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to this conversation. This has been delightful for me. And you know what to do. Download, subscribe, rate, review, all of the things. When you do that, it helps us to reach more people. And if you've been listening to this and thinking, I know someone that needs to hear this, share it with them. And if you want to know more about what it is like to work with me or be in our community, click the link in the description to book a call with somebody on my team. They would be thrilled to be of service to you. And until next time, bye for now.